this is probably gonna. Oh yeah, go ahead.
We've spoken to D. Motson and Alan Crane as well. They're both like very keen on the idea. I think it's definitely possible. It's just working out like all the issues that arise and basically squashing them, working out how to fix them to make sure it's like the best it can be.
There's a lot. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, there's a lot of things I really love about this idea, but obviously I'm trying to think of like the general happiness of the public as well. I think the opt-in program, like the fact that it's optional, right, is totally valid. I think my other concern is it being a privatized company. I think you can get, if you guys are familiar with healthcare outside of the city, it's a pretty contentious point. To have privately funded healthcare facilities. So my proposition to you guys, and please feel free to take time to think about this, is would you guys be interested in making it a state-funded program? Obviously, everyone that you already have involved would still be, like, you would basically be government employees, right? Responsible for setting people up with healthcare in the city. And everything would go through the state budget rather than going through a private company. It's something to think about, because I don't want a monopoly on healthcare. If you guys came up with like a version of healthcare, I would want there to be competition where people could offer competitive packages.
As private away from the state would allow competition to appear in the future based on the benefits that we can offer.
True, but that's where kind of where it can get
the opportunity for a company to come through and give better services and maybe like a more affordable rate for different things or different tiered system. If you leave that option open, then it allows that to happen. Where if it's state funded, then that leaves it as it's done, you know?
True, but there's a lot of issues around privatized healthcare as well, because then it becomes about money and like it becomes a commodity, right? Rather than like what you guys are describing is a benefit to the employees and at Pillbox, which is something I'm really passionate about. And it sounds like it's an incentive to stay out of fucking danger, right? And I think we'll make people think twice before getting in shootouts with the cops, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's also the aim, to basically just change the landscape of how the city works and the consequences that you face from doing anything basically stupid or reckless.
Right. But I hope you guys can see my concern about it being a privatized thing and becoming a money machine.
Yeah, what's your main concerns regarding the money? It's just purely based on the machine it becomes.
Yeah, I get mostly concerned about the idea of multiple companies competing to make money on people's well-being. Competition is a good thing, but when it comes to healthcare, I definitely am concerned about that, right?
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah, like once again, Bunny, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just want to make sure, like you don't just like get surprised with this bullshit, like, you know, in a couple weeks, you know. I just want to like, it's just kind of like the respect of this is what we had in mind, you know, and, just trying to sit down and have a conversation, trying to make sure we fix all the kinks and all that good stuff, you know.
Yeah, I would seriously ask you guys to consider being a state-funded program. I think that's, in my opinion, that's best for the city. If it doesn't become kind of a competitive nature to see who can basically has the best like finances when it comes to healthcare. But I love the idea in general. And, you know, if it does go the privatized route, obviously there will be a lot of issues to work out. I want you guys to fully expect a lot of pushback from the city, because you guys will, of course, basically be the face of that, right? And
establish ourselves as ghost owners of the business, and it's simply
And the thing is, like, you guys know me, I'm very firm in my convictions when I feel strongly about something, and if there are issues, I'll call you out on them publicly. So just make sure that you absolutely talk to all of the doctors, all of EMS, talk to everyone involved, get their feedback on what they want, what they need, because I think the doctors will definitely be on board for, you know, when they're putting more time into patients in the ICU, getting paid more money.
Exactly.
And I think that we really have a lacking in passionate healthcare providers right now. Yeah, I love so much about this idea. Obviously, I have my concerns. I would ask you guys to take those concerns seriously and think about it. But overall, the idea of healthcare, I see a lot of benefits to it.
I appreciate you, Bunny. I appreciate
If it was
you.
to be state funded, would you
Mhm.
consider us having still some kind of ownership within
Yeah.
that itself?
Yes. Oh, you guys would be brought on. You would be. You would. It would
Opposed
still
to
be your.
employees, though.
Yeah, that's fine. You know, basically how the
It's
Parks
like
and Rec department.
back-end investors,
Yes.
basically.
So basically how the Parks and Rec department works is when Nancy originally became the head of the Parks and Rec department, she was the owner of that company, and it was just funded, and all of its funds operated from the state budget. So it had its own bank account, it had its own business that people were hired onto. It operated basically independently. The only thing is they relied on the state for finances. So like we basically supply Parks and Rec with all of their money, and the state kind of gets an input on what they're doing, right? But the state, like, I'm reinstating the Parks and Rec department. I want them to operate completely independent.